I want to talk about the subject of 29er trail bikes. So as you may know, I'm testing two 29er trail bikes. The Giant Trance, which is a short travel 29er trail bike. And then the Specialized Stumpjumper, which is a mid, maybe long travel 29er trail bike. And about 3 weeks ago, I was riding the Stumpjumper and I finally felt like I got it. So when I first got on that bike, I felt a little awkward, a little high off the ground, just didn't feel as smooth on that bike. But the more I've ridden that bike, the more I've adjusted my riding style and gotten used to it. And like I said, about 3 weeks ago on a ride, and they were cross-country trails, not anything too burly or anything like that, I finally felt like I got it. I finally felt like my riding style, how I cornered on the bike, I finally felt like I got it. And the thing that I appreciate most about 29er trail bikes is how much authority you feel like you have over the front end, how much confidence you have when cornering on those bikes. So the Specialized has 2.6 tires. Those are big, beefy tires on a 29er, and it's the most traction I've ever had on a mountain bike. You can go into corners and just throw the bike into corners, and it holds a line, doesn't flinch. The bike is so stable. And then there's the confidence that you have when you're going through rough stuff. I probably have more confidence on that bike than any other bike that I've ridden when plowing through rough stuff. And it takes a while to kind of build up that confidence in corners through rough stuff. And once you get that confidence built up, like I said, the bike just, you learn to take advantage of it and you have a lot of fun. I've been watching Bike Magazine's Bible of Bike Tests lately, and most of the bikes that they are testing in those tests, in those videos, are 29ers. More so than I've ever seen in the past. You're seeing more and more 29er trail bikes come out. Are we seeing in the 29er trail bike category what we saw in the cross-country bike scene many, many years ago? So when 29er cross-country bikes first came out, they were a little awkward. They were the red-headed stepchild. People weren't sure about them. Some people had them. But the geometry and design of those bikes just kept developing to where now that's all you see. I mean, where do you see a brand new 26 or even 27.5 cross-country bike? You just don't see them. I mean, there was a time where Giant was really pushing 27.5 cross-country. I had one. I loved it. But now you just can't find them. Even Giant has moved away from the 27.5 pure cross-country. You just don't find them anymore. So are we seeing 29er bikes take over the trail bike scene? I'm not saying it's right or wrong. It's just there's a trend, and it could be where we're going. I don't think we're going to see 29er completely take over the trail bike category. I like some ride characteristics of a 27.5 for trail bike. And if I like them, I'm sure there's other people out there that like them. Would I ever go back to a 27.5 trail bike? Yeah, maybe. I like 27.5 because you can add a lot more travel without making the bike too high off the ground or feel cumbersome. I like the feeling of a lot of travel sometimes, especially like, you know, when you're going through G-outs and the suspension just soaks it up, or you're just plowing through rough stuff and the bike just goes straight through with the suspension doing all the work for you. There's times when I really like that feeling. And like I said, with 27.5, you can add a lot of travel without making the bike feel too awkward. If I ever got another 27.5, I think I would go with more travel. So instead of a Giant Trance, for example, I'd probably try the Giant Rain. I've never ridden that bike. So the Rain has 170 in the front, 160 in the back. You can even get the Rain SX with 180 in the front. Probably wouldn't go that big. But I would like to, if I do try 27.5 again, I would like to try more travel because I've already gotten used to being higher off the ground with that Stumpjumper 29. Like I said, I felt a little high, a little awkward, but once I've gotten used to it, it's fine. Another thing I like about the new 29er trail bikes is the geometry has evolved so much. So I had 29er trail bikes in the past, many years ago. I had a Stumpjumper, I had a Niner. but all the companies have evolved their geometry to where those 29er trail bikes are almost as agile as a 27.5, but you get the added advantage of more traction, and you get the added advantage of the rollover ability. So rocks, roots, the bike just carries that momentum. We've all heard that, but it's true. You just have more momentum. So again, after you learn to corner the bike, building up that confidence, shifting your weight around a little bit differently, and then taking advantage of the rollover ability, you get it. And for me, it wasn't something that I got right away. Like it took probably a month before the light came on, and I was like, oh, yeah, I get it. This is a fun bike. And I have so much confidence on that 29er now when going over rough stuff. I just feel more stable. I feel like the front end doesn't wander around as much. The tires are just so planted on the ground. And on the flip side, that's one thing that's fun to me about 27.5 is the tires move around a little bit more. And sometimes that's a lot of fun. Skidding the rear end around a corner if you have to. Just weaving and dodging on the 27.5 is easier. So there's plus and minuses of both. Like I said though, there's a chance that we're seeing 29ers take over the trail bike category. Like I said, I'm not saying it's right or wrong. I'm just saying what I'm seeing in the industry. Where will it be in 5 years? Who knows? They're still playing around with fork offsets. That's one thing that I'm really going to be paying attention to with these two bikes. So the Trance has a reduced fork offset at 44 millimeters, whereas the 29er Stumpjumper has what's called right now a standard fork offset at 51 millimeters. It's amazing what 7 millimeters difference makes in reducing or adding trail to a bike. But that's a whole separate video that I'm going to make. But I think bike companies are still messing around with geometry. And there's so many factors in bike geometry. It's crazy with head angle, seat tube angle, fork offset, wheelbase, chainstay length. All these numbers. Like there's no, I don't know. It's still evolving. So like I said, who knows where we're going to be in 5 years? All right, I'm done. Questions, comments, what do you think is going to happen in the bike industry? What are your own experiences? If you've ridden a 29 trail bike coming off a 27.5, I'd love to know your thoughts as well. Drop those in the comments below. Thanks for watching.